The holiday season has never really been my most active period of time as far as video making is concerned, so why change that now? After some of those beefy Sonic videos, I'm pretty pumped up to do the Sonic 06 review actually, but like I did in between Heroes and Shadow, why not continue video making, but in a more small-scale context? So don't expect this to be some kind of serious video for me, I'm just using this as a way to ramble for a few minutes. If we rewind the clocks back a few years, the video series that got me towards the path I'm on now will be my retrospective on the Mega Man X series, a franchise that I have had quite the interesting history with. I've gone over this topic numerous times in the previous videos though, so going in depth on that would probably just be retreading old ground. But there is one comment that has always stuck out in my mind. It was when the all-inclusive Mega Man X retrospective had gotten a new episode in 2018 when I had reviewed the Mega Man X Legacy Collection at launch. It was from Snipe MD, probably in a joking tone, but he said the retrospective wasn't quite all-inclusive unless I had done a full video on the PS2 and GameCube Mega Man X collection that I have taken shots at numerous times over the years. Well, to that I say, touché, Snipe, touché. And now, 2.5 years later, I'm finally back doing a video that nobody asked for. We're tackling the Mega Man X collection for the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo GameCube. Yeah, I mean, I'm back talking about Mega Man, but something tells me this isn't what people had in mind. Trust me, I want to get to classic Mega Man and Mega Man Legends at some point, but I'm in the middle of other stuff when it comes to content obligations, so we'll get to it when we get to it. So let's just say I'm a Joe Schmo from the mid-2000s, and I hear there's going to be a brand new Mega Man compilation, the Mega Man X Collection. Let's check out the trailer. As we quickly realize, it might be one of the worst trailers I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, not buying that garbage. I can't believe they released that. I guess my praising the Legacy collections for their amazing and descriptive trailers had served a cosmic purpose in the end, because looking back at how Capcom marketed Mega Man in the mid-2000s leaves me more puzzled than ever as to why it's still a debate as to what happened to Mega Man. The games were on a path of diminishing returns, and therefore Capcom kept putting less and less effort into their flagship series, to the point where we had a negative loop of no effort from Capcom and no sales from fans. These two things kept feeding one another until Keiji Inafune left Capcom, and the higher-ups then decided Mega Man had to take a dirt nap. But seriously, that trailer, man, I just saw a low-energy clip show of the Mega Man X games with generic music on top of it. They don't even clarify what games are in it, you just have to know by buying the game or by already knowing what the series is about. That trailer was a freaking abomination. So let's say you actually do spend your money on this despite the advertising warning you not to, and then you have the manual. It's actually really interesting. Similar to the Classic Series Anniversary Collection, the GameCube manual is in color and the PS2 version's in black and white. The pages were also altered between versions to fit the different sizes, and they also used this art from Mega Man Extreme 1 in the GameCube manual, but not in the PS2 one. The writers decided to offer these useless hints in the bottom corner of every game's page. I love how in X6 they're like, having trouble with a boss? Try jumping to a different position. Yeah, no shit. Game still blows. It seems like Capcom was already onto that whole put concept art in the collection idea before it was cool. They even have hints as to how us noobs can collect the Hadouken, the Shoryuken, and the Z-Saber if you need an extra helping hand. But anyway, getting into the package itself, here we have Mega Man X1, X2, X3, X4, X5, and X6, with these neat redrawn logos for X2 and X3 that match what was seen in X4 through X6. At least I thought it was cool. This is so retro that Mega Man X7 and Mega Man X8 were full-on new games. X8 only released like a year or two before the X collection, so of course they won't be included. As for the games themselves, this is where things get interesting. The Mega Man X collection went in an interesting direction and chose to natively port the X games to the new consoles as opposed to emulating them. If you're curious what that means, well, the collection can take advantage of the PlayStation 2 hardware to produce better quality gameplay over the originals. This means that on a technical level, these versions are actually the best to play of all. X3 through X6 have much faster loading than they did on PS1. The PS2 is fully backwards compatible with the PS1, but you get a better experience with these games on the PS2 disc. But these games never had loading screens that were really that bad like X7, so it's not that important. I did say X3 in there as well. The X collection decided to include the 5th gen version of X3, with it being the first time Western players had a good way to try it out. Mega Man X3's enhanced port did receive a Western release on Windows 95, but unless you're someone like me, why would you own that? I'm going to assume this is a port of the PlayStation version, as X4 is definitely a port of the PlayStation 1 rendition of that game, as seen by the better transparency effects. X3 itself was also released on the Saturn and Windows 95, like I said, but the Saturn version had this border around it since the console could not do 8x7 games without a border for whatever reason, and the PC version of X3 came with an easy mode with reduced damage. Hence why I'm guessing it's the PS1 version. But anyway, the biggest benefit that comes from all the games being directly ported to the new consoles as opposed to emulating them is that the first 3 games, to varying degrees, suffer from slowdown during more graphically intense moments. While it will definitely mess with your muscle memory when playing, it's really cool to see a version of Mega Man X where the game proceeds as normal when smashing the glass of Storm Eagle or riding the platforms of Armor Armadillo. The same goes for equally intense moments of Mega Man X2 or Mega Man X3 where the engine originally struggled to deliver. Comparing this to the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, and I can say with ease that this version plays much better. The PS2 era collection improves the experience. XLC is the best version for those who want to play the X series, as it does include the definitive versions of X7 and X8, but it messed up the scaling of the 2D games and included input lag. Input lag isn't really something I'm tuned to notice. However, if I'd get a better experience in emulators where I can choose to put the SNES games in 8x7s with pixel perfect scaling, why would I play the XLC versions over that for X1 to X6? It just doesn't make any sense. The PS2 era collection at least offers competition to what you can do on your computer, and I appreciate the effort. I was at a retro gaming store a few months back with really amazing prices for all the stuff they had on stock. One of those things being the GameCube version of the X collection for like $25, which I knew was an instant buy, as the PS2 version comes really cheap, but the GameCube one goes up to like $50 or more online. Besides having a colored-in manual, you might wonder what other tricks the GameCube port hides under its sleeves. The answer is that it's worse than the PS2 version in every sense of the word. I mean, seriously. Both games basically function the exact same, but the GameCube version has one flaw that makes it far worse than the PS2 version. Modern day game collections come with these bizarre filters that I don't know why anyone would use, but that's not even what this is. Using the open source scan converter, here is the PS2 version of the X collection, and here it is on the GameCube using literally the exact same setup. I could not possibly explain to you what's going on with the GameCube port that would make it look like this, especially since the PS2 was the weakest console of that entire generation. The funny thing, the GameCube version cleans up pretty nicely on Dolphin, as you can see here on the screen right now, but playing it on original hardware is just plain fugly. Then you have the act of playing it on a GameCube controller. Now, the D-pad was not quite as bad as you might think, but then I could tell something was really off with the precision of the button presses. I don't have any real evidence to back this up, but just look at me trying to nab the arm parts in Mega Man X2. Something I could do pretty easily on every other version, resulted in me running out of ammo over and over on GameCube. If you want to emulate the GameCube port of the X collection, I certainly don't think you could go wrong, but as for consoles, definitely play it on the PlayStation 2 if you're going to play this at all, since it's better in every way. The old collection certainly doesn't have the amount of bonus features that XLC did, but there is one reward. For beating X1, X2, and X3, you unlock the bonus game Mega Man Battle and Chase, an obscure PS1 Classic Series racing game that's pretty shit. I guess it's nice they included this one since it got left out of the Classic Collection from 2003, but if you wanted a real reward for beating the first 3 X games, I think a much better idea would have been to put Mega Man Extreme 1 and Extreme 2 for the Game Boy Color in there. These 2 games both remixed assets from X1, X2, and X3 in 8-bit. It makes perfect sense. They should just hire me to come up with these galaxy-brained ideas, I'm full of them. I like how each game has a uniform save menu. Similar to XLC, X1 to X3 just used a manipulation of the password system to act as a save system, but it's really cool how there are 3 save files per game. Well, X5 and X6 originally had way more, but still. I don't think the save feature remembers your custom control bindings, so remember to take care of that in the menu before playing just in case. I usually beat Mega Man X games in one sitting though, so it's not much of a big deal either way. Exiting a game is as simple as holding down the Start and Select buttons on PS2 and holding down Start, B, and X on GameCube. Having options to revisit the main menu in a collection should be a standard feature. As for any other critiques, I have a couple of nitpicks to share. The audio balance is kinda screwed up. Similar to the Classic Series Anniversary Collection, people remember the charge shot in Mega Man games as being really annoying, but if you play these games as originally intended, it just isn't like that. But then on PS2, while also making some sound effects much quieter, and here they screwed up X2's title screen. With this being a PS2 and GameCube release, aspect ratios are a no-show. What we do have is the game relying on the aspect ratio that the games were shown in. SNES games have an internal aspect ratio of 8:7 but displayed on CRTs as 4:3. And PS1 games have the internal aspect ratio at 4:3 but displayed as 8:7 on CRTs, and the PS2 X collection sees the games looking how they did on the CRTs. As long as it's not stretched, I can play it just fine, but I'm just trying to be thorough here. But then we have the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to playing the game on old consoles: the double-edged sword of a 240p resolution. Unfortunately, 240p is something that only retro video games used, so modern-day display methods just don't bother supporting that. So you'll pop this into your PS2, and then unless you're using composite or S-video cables, the screen will just be black, rendering the disc basically useless. The Classic Series Anniversary Collection avoided this by rendering the games at 480i, which clearly cleans up like shit. Even though I realize that sentence makes no sense. The Sonic Mega Collection Plus could run up to 480p, which is the best possible outcome. But 240p on the whole is better than 480i, even with displays not accepting it nowadays, because when using upscalers like the XRGB Mini or the OSSC, you can get the game looking damn fine. My only gripe then being that the game blacks out the frame when going from gameplay to the save room, since this is in 480i. Never ceases to annoy me. I used to really hold this over the PS2 collection's head with a passion. If I had the mathematical skills to calculate how much time, money, and other resources I've spent trying to play this damn collection over the last 5 years, well, I'd be doing something. But anyway, that resentment lingered for a while, until I just accepted reality as what it was. You need an OSSC to play the definitive version of the Mega Man X games, a price I'm pretty willing to pay. This, and playing the PS2 trilogy of Sly Cooper on a computer that can run them in HD with motion blur removed, are two of the biggest gooses I've been chasing these last several years. Now that I have them in my hand, it just kinda ends at that. Nothing really changed for the better or for the worse, but it is nice though. But back to reality, 240p cannot ruin a game inherently because of the fact that every PS1 game runs at that. For example, if I wanted to use component cables and record MGS1 off a PS2 the best looking way, I need an OSSC for that as well. If I said that MGS1 was worse for it, I'd look pretty stupid. The first Ico game natively runs in 240p on PS2 as well, and I definitely look like a mega idiot for saying that ruins the game in comparison to the HD collection. My point is, this collection running in 240p is something worth knowing before buying it, but it's a neutral fact inherently. But that's basically all I have to say on the PS2 version of the Mega Man X collection. It's probably not really worth playing if you have to go out of your way to do so, but if you can, I'd say it's arguably the best version of all these games. And with that, this is my last Mega Man outing for the year. I think it's kind of a shame that I didn't get the chance to do more Mega Man videos, but I promise I'll try to devote more time to the series in the future. I thought those guide videos were pretty interesting, but they didn't really resonate with audiences, so that's definitely scrapped. But I still do have some other ideas I think are pretty cool. But the Mega Man Elder Gods had some other plans in mind for me on August 9th as I was smited from the sky.
No! Did you die?
Holy shit! Oh, watch that! Watch that!
In retrospect, clips like that are pretty funny. I mean, you can practice all you want, which I did. I practiced a lot for those races, but come race day, some shit just goes wrong every game and you have nothing to show for it besides being in dead last. But yeah, just figured I'd get back into the swing of Mega Man content with a quick video like this. Don't really have much of a way to end this one besides just saying that I've been through a lot these last few years and YouTube's been at the center of it all the whole time. If you're one of the people who's been there since the days of the X1 review when I had like 130 subscribers or so, I must say thanks for the continued support. And if you're one of the newer fans, I'm happy to have you on board as well. I'm hoping to keep this train going for as long as it can make the ride interesting and entertaining, and with that said, the next video is going to be a thing on alternative playable characters in the Devil May Cry games, and then it's time for Sonic 06. In the meantime, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.